brain to the Neurocaster network to make it work. Amherst isn't proud of this but thinks it was necessary to save the world and points out Christopher would have died in bed if they hadn't taken him. 13 months after the beginning of the experiment, Christopher woke up and Amherst wanted to disconnect him. However, Ethan refused and threatened to kill Amherst if he tried. The doctor decided to run away, but before he left, he established a tiny connection between Christopher and the outside network. He also gave him the location of the mall so he could find a new family among the robots. Michelle points out Christopher already had a family and John punches Amherst for her. At that moment, Bradbury appears outside and shoots the entrance to access the tunnel. He slides down too and finds the room empty. The lights suddenly go out and Peanut tackles Bradbury from behind to smash him against an electrical grid. Bradbury's Neurocaster is electrocuted for a few seconds and he drops his gun, but he manages to push Peanut off to recover. A fight ensues as Peanut reveals a sword hidden inside his cane, but Bradbury is still stronger and easily overpowers him. The rest of the group is sneaking out, but they freeze when they hear a noise. A bunch of soldier Neurocasters appear in the air and land around the heroes, asking them to surrender. The training robot starts shooting balls with such strength that he manages to break a few of their helmets. All this is seen by Ethan through the cameras and he orders the soldiers to capture Cosmo by killing everyone else if necessary. Cosmo throws a ball to distract a soldier and Michelle appears behind him, shooting paint at him until his propeller malfunctions and he crashes into the ceiling. When a second soldier tries to capture her, Amherst shoots him down and tells the duo he knows a way out. John and the other robots keep on fighting the rest of the squad, defeating them with improvised weapons. In the underground room, Bradbury rips Peanut's hat off and says he broke the treaty, so what happens to his family is his fault. At the same time, a bunch of soldiers arrive at the mall. Then Bradbury comes out and starts shooting at attractions randomly. Amherst tells his friends to run before he comes out to comfort Bradbury, daring to shoot. Bradbury hesitates to kill another human being, so Ethan takes over a Neurocaster and shoots Amherst himself. The doctor falls on some debris and dies when a metal bar impales him, which leaves Bradbury reconsidering his morals. Michelle and Cosmo try to run away but they're surrounded by soldiers. One of them holds Michelle down while the other grabs Cosmo to then fly away. Bradbury shoots the Neurocaster holding Michelle and tells her to go home before he flies off too. In the morning, the group returns to the mall and finds it in ruins with most of the robots destroyed. Meanwhile, Cosmo is taken to the center labs to reunite with Christopher's body. As Ethan connects him to the system, Bradbury realizes he was lied to and Cosmo isn't just a robot, so he's angry that he was sent to hunt a boy. Ethan reminds him that this child helped him win the war and claims that sacrifice is required to move a species forward. Back in the mall, John tells Michelle that she shouldn't give up and that he'll help her if she decides to keep on fighting. Then Michelle checks Amherst's computer to confirm it has the codes to leave the exclusion zone and the location of the Seattle lab. The computer also explains if they disconnect Christopher, the entire Neurocaster system and the company itself will shut down. At that moment, Peanut comes back and reminds her that he signed a treaty to achieve peace, but Michelle changes his mind by pointing out that the attack on the mall means the treaty is invalid. Using a bunch of abandoned trucks, John, Michelle, and all the surviving robots leave the desert and make their way to Seattle. Herman even finds a new giant suit and uses it to start throwing things at the center labs, cracking their windows. Ethan immediately sends all his soldiers out so Herman and John begin running away to make them follow them, creating an opening for Michelle and Amherst's computer to sneak into the building. John shoots at the incoming soldiers while Herman smashes them with his huge hands. However, one of the Neurocasters self-destructs and brings Herman's suit down. When a soldier tackles John, Herman reveals he's got a second suit inside the first and saves his friend so they can keep running. Once the task force is far enough, the rest of the robots also join the fight, which is seen by Bradbury on the cameras. An angry Ethan rushes to his office to put on a secret helmet that allows him to control a special Neurocaster and joins the fight too, easily bringing down most of the robots. In the main lab, Amherst's computer pretends to be a crazy violent robot to scare the scientists away. Michelle confirms her brother is still alive, but to talk to him she'll need a Neurocaster. At the same time, Bradbury goes outside and tells Peanut where to find Ethan, saying he's finally found someone less human than a robot. Then he disconnects his Neurocaster, finally quitting the war. When Michelle puts on the helmet, she finds herself in the memory of her last Christmas with her brother. She tells Christopher that she wants to save him, but he explains that his body is weak and disconnecting him will kill him. He doesn't want to live the rest of his life in this state though, so he tells his sister to do it anyway. In the meantime, Ethan destroys Herman's final suit. The little guy is also hurt and John rushes to help him, but it's too late. At that moment, Ethan is found by Peanut, who says he wants to renegotiate the treaty. In the lab, Michelle refuses to disconnect her brother because she doesn't want to lose him again. Christopher insists he hasn't felt anything in years so he can't be saved, but her friends do need the help. After lots of tears, Michelle says goodbye to Christopher and returns to the real world to finally disconnect him. All the Neurocasters instantly go down and the robots celebrate their victory. John is still sad over Herman, whose head suddenly opens and reveals a tiny robot inside. Chaos takes over the world as all computers stop working. The news starts covering Center's experiments on a human child and Ethan is arrested while people begin asking for the exclusion zone to be taken down. In the desert, John and the robots help Michelle make a video in which she tells people to leave their helmets behind and enjoy the world again. Meanwhile, Cosmo is thrown in the trash, but his head suddenly moves. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.